Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter. Guys, in the house tonight, Thomas with Fishing the DMV. Welcome, Thomas. What's up, my brother?
Hi, dude, just living life.
If you guys are watching on YouTube, which I hope you are watching on YouTube, by the way, Hank the Bass Geek's got the night off. He's got some stuff going on, so it's just me, Thomas. But we got two great guests in the house from Major League Fishing. We got Mr. Kevin Hunt and Joe. Joe, I want to dice your last name, by the way.
Oh, come on. We've been friends for a long time, Brian.
Opager.
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 Joe Opager, yeah. Thanks so much for having us on.
So, welcome to Basscast Radio, by the way. Guys, tonight we're going to talk about this tackle warehouse event that's going to be happening up on the James River. Really excited about that. It's been a great year for local tournament fishing. And I was having a conversation with some of the guys today at work. And I was like, guys, this was the year for you to meet. If you want to meet professional anglers, I don't care what division, NPFL, Bassmaster, Major League Fishing, they were all within 2 hours of right here in Central Virginia. You just had to go down to North Carolina or Smith Mountain Lake a couple of weeks ago now. So, they were all like here. This was the year for us, which is very rare because a lot of times all our tournaments, hundreds of miles away. But to have a tournament that's hour and a half to 2 hours away from the house, pretty freaking awesome. And this is another one. Also, guys, coming up the end of the month, be another Major League Fishing Bass Pro Series on the Potomac. And I think that's not but like 3.5 hours. If the roads are all fixed by the time you get there, I would make sure you leave a little early because this sucks. But as long as the roads are fixed, because I think the last time I went to the Potomac River, it's been about a year ago. Well, it was last year. They're working on some bridge up there. They're always working on something up that way. So if you're going to head that way, I recommend you please leave early and don't cut it close to like I like to do. So because I think the last time I was up on a Potomac, I think they were golf carting people around and all that stuff. And it's always a great event. So come on out. Like I said, a lot of great events are happening right here within a few hours from the house. Before we get going with Kevin and Joe, Thomas, what's happening in your world, man?
Dude, I'm just getting after it. We are going 4 episodes each week as normal. Next week, we have the biology report for the James River. As you guys know, I have a great relationship with Virginia, and I'm on the board for the Maryland government as well. So we have a great episode coming out where they give you the fish surveys for all things James River and Chickahominy River. It's crazy time to be alive right now where you have Albemarle Sound, the James River, Smith Mountain Lake, Potomac. Everything in this area just seems to be on fire right now. And you wonder, is it social media or is everything just hitting at the right time? And honestly, I think it's the right time to be here and to come out here and fish.
Yeah. Like Thomas talked about, the spring, early spring, winter brought a lot of 10-pounders on Smith Mountain Lake this year. Now, we didn't see it. We didn't see them during the Bass Pro Series event, wrong time of the year, but we caught, I think it was about 3 10-pounders that came out of that lake.
And 11.
Oh, and 11. And we had the first dirty 30 come out of that lake, a 30-plus pound bag caught during an event. Guys, these all went across real scales. None of them were, they're all in a tournament for the most part. So, it's been a heck of a year that we talked about it. I know Thomas has talked to a lot of the biologists as well. The tiger bass that enters Smith Mountain Lake, it's been 10 years, and now we're seeing 10-pounders. So the lake's definitely on fire. And I know you guys need to head on over and check out that show with Thomas. Closer to the rivers than I am. I got the lower end of the James River, which we float down here, and I think you might see some pockets, but for the most part, you can swim in it or lay in it. It's like 4 feet deep, but there's still some great smallmouth fishing in our area right here. But what's that? I thought you said something, Joe. But if you want to check out our last podcast, man, we talked all about smallmouth bass fishing on our last episode of Basscast Radio. So head on over and check that out. But guys, tonight, like I said, Kevin, Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And first of all, Kevin, give us a little background in your history with Major League Fishing and how you became the.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Great.
Okay, so it's just Brian that's out here.
Probably. He's in the sticks.
Okay. Brian, you're back now. Now I can hear you.
Okay, cool, good. So
Yeah,
Kevin,
so lots of folks don't know, but I've been with the company for 21 years.
Wow.
I actually started back in 2004, and my first director job was the BFL, and I was in the BFL, and then moved on to Walleye. I did Walleye tour and stuff for a while.
Wow.
I was a TV host and did the weigh-ins there for the tour. And then in 2008, I started the college program. And so that's kind of where I've been focused around, was the college program. I started the FLW back then in 2008. We started that college program. In 2009, we had our first tournament. So now, looking back, it's 17 years that we've had college fishing. So Thomas, I see the SU shirt back there. What's that?
So yeah, this is something I'm so surprised we get to talk about. There's a little D3 college in Winchester, and I formed the club, and we went to the FLW National Championship twice, 2015, 2016. Dang, this is so cool to bring back memories of meeting you. I've always wanted to ask you, what was that like trying to get the college program up and running? Was it just the whole idea that you had? Like, what was that like?
Oh, a lot of fun. And Joe was there for a long ride as well. I don't remember exactly what year. Joe, what year did you actually join us?
2012 is when I started at.
So 2012. So even by 2012, we had already kind of developed. But it was neat. I was on my way to a walleye tour event, and I'm in Rockford, Illinois. I'll never forget this. And I'm sitting there, and Charlie calls and says, "Hey, man, I need you to come home." And I was like, "I'm heading to an event." And he goes, "Nope, need you to come home. I want you to start a college fishing program." That's 2006, so like May or June. And I was like, "Well, I mean, okay." And he's like, "Nope, seriously, just turn around and come home." And sure enough, we could come home, and we worked, designed trailers, designed the rules, designed the program. I mean, just a lot of, just in the office. I literally didn't leave this office for 6 months and just pounded away on creating this program. And man, looking to see where it is now, it's amazing how awesome it is and what college fishing has become. And it's just, it makes me smile every time I think about it. So it's a lot of good. And then on top of that, once once we MLF acquired us in 2000, I don't even know, 19 or so, we took over the Bass Pro Tour, and then I took over this what we call Tackle House Invitationals, which is basically essentially the MLF or the pro circuit, I guess you'd call it. Wouldn't you agree, Joe? Basically, old pro circuit. FLW Tour, going back even
further, the FLW Tour.
That's right.
Into the pro circuit, now the Invitational.
Correct.
Kind of been
correct. We've changed names, but it's still the same thing, guys. So I run high school across the nation as well. I'm run college program still, and I also run the Tackle Warehouse Invitational. So lots of great stuff happening around here, man. Lots of good stuff. And unfortunately, I got my hands dipped in all of it. A lot of it, anyway.
Well, that's because you're needed everywhere. How did you even get involved in this crazy thing to go from, where you started to where you are now? But like, how did you get in the door and this whole crazy journey begin?
Well, funny enough, I just happened to run into Charlie Evans, just connections. And honestly, church, met him at church. My wife used to grow up going to church with him. I met the right person at the right time. It's just timing. And honestly, I changed my degree to do this. I was going into finance. Yeah, I was going into finance. I changed my degree, and then he basically hired me before I even graduated. And so he hired me, and then we went straight into WOW. Graduated on Saturday and started right here in this office 21 years ago on Monday.
It's crazy. People are just so cool that if you didn't meet him at church, the college program might not be where it is today.
Sure.
Like, that's wild that just these little moments in time and they butterfly out like that. That's crazy.
For sure. It's been a blessing. And like I said, I'm not a big social media guy out there, talking a lot. I watch it a lot and pay attention, but I just try to stay low and do a great job and be a good person. And that's kind of who I am behind the scenes.
That's awesome. Joe, give us a little background about you and how you teamed up with Major League Fishing.
Sure. So first, I got to apologize. I've got some really poor reception going. We've got some storms kind of rolling through here in central Minnesota. I'm not sure, but as long as you can hear me now, I can hear you guys, so we're good.
We can hear you. You're breaking up, but we can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I apologize. But yeah, I've been with, I started, as an intern at FLW in October of 2011.
Wow.
It was a 3-month internship, and then 2 months into that, right in January of 2012, they offered me a full-time position in the PR department, just writing press releases as a communications specialist. So I was hired on. I jumped at the chance and was extremely excited to, be working in pro bass fishing. It's something I've been following for a long time. Dove right in, and then slowly I've been with the company ever since. I was promoted to director of PR at FLW in 2014. Was part of the acquisition along with Kevin to Major League Fishing, and been with the company ever since.
Wow,
that's awesome. Yeah, guys, Joe keeps me in line the best he can at Red Crest. I ain't gonna lie. He knows I'm all over the place, and that's just the ADD, I guess. Because I like to get the story. I like to get it up. I like to make it happen, and that's just me. And Joe and Charity do their best to try to keep me in line, and I know that's tough, and I appreciate them trying to keep me in line. But we love coming to the events, and guys, if you've never been to a Red Crest event, you need to reach out and go to one. The announcement hasn't been made yet for 2026. What's taking so long, Kevin?
Well, I actually, funny enough, asked Chris the other day because when I start doing scheduling, I have to schedule around my invitationals first, and then you have Toyotas, and then BFLs, and then college and high school. And with me running all three of the programs that I run, I kind of it's a big puzzle, and I'm just like Chris Hoover's our sales director, and the one that gets that schedule together. I'm just like, Chris, I need to know where we're going, and he's like, can't tell you yet. So I don't know what's going on. I think it's just a matter of just trying to get some things to roll out right, and then trying to get the right lake at the right time, and time and scheduling. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't envy Chris at all, but we're still waiting. Still waiting.
Is it just Chris that does it? Because that poor guy needs a drink. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, Chris is our sales director, and I tell you, Chris has been with us for about 24 years now, 23, 24 years, and Chris does a great job. And if you don't know Chris Hoover, it's just because he wasn't one of your directors. He's been a BFL director to a saltwater director to a sales director. I mean, he's got director written all over him. But
wow,
yeah, he does all of our Toyota series scheduling. He does the Tackle Warehouse Invitational scheduling along with myself. We just kind of figure out what lakes we want to go to and what works best, and then BPT as well as the Red Crest, All-American, things like that. So, yeah, he's a busy man as well. There's not a lot of people around here that aren't busy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, what you guys have to pump out on a yearly basis, I don't think people can appreciate. They don't see what builds, a beautiful building, an Eiffel Tower. Everyone sees the finished product, but they don't see everyone behind the scenes that had to build this thing. When does it start? Is it basically as soon as the new year starts, the scheduling just starts up for, let's say, 2026? Like, how does this work on a yearly basis?
Sure. So we're working on scheduling right now, and I'm looking over here on my little whiteboard now. I already have scheduled for college fishing 2026 pretty much done in the books. So, we're working right now for 2026. And as the July approaches and August, we hit it real heavy for the BFL guys.
Okay.
And so that means that our BPT schedule is pretty much done. My Tackle Warehouse schedule is pretty much done for the most part. I talked to him literally 2 days ago and was like, all right, we're final. And then the Toyota schedule is pretty close to being done. And then again, July, August is when we hit it pretty hard with the BFL. And by September, is when we're pumping out those schedules and letting everybody know. But it's about right now is when I start trying to get things done. Chris has been working on it for probably the last 30 days. And so, yeah, it's
I tell people here, Kevin, there's more there's more tournaments than ramps. I'll tell you that around here.
Oh, for sure. It's amazing. It's amazing. And trying to coordinate that's a lot of folks don't understand, or they'll ask, well, why are you on top of this one or on top of that event? Or, we always have this one this year. Well, we got 200 plus events that we're trying to get around our own company, much less Bass or, you guys or somewhere else. It's just amazing the things that go on in the bass world.
So would that be your Q4 then? You try to wrap this up in Q4 and then the release would be in like your Q1. How would that, I guess, work for your business schedule, just out of curiosity?
And Joe, you might want to input a little bit there on that, on talking about scheduling.
Sure. Sorry, guys.
Go ahead,
I'm on my computer now, so I feel like it's a little bit better. I'm not sure if you guys can still hear me or not, but I can hear you.
You sound great.
Yeah, you sound great.
Perfect. Yeah. Which is so weird because usually it's completely opposite. But hey, I don't want to jinx it, so we're going well. But I'm kind of getting caught up to speed as far as the scheduling and how that works. But I didn't catch the question about Q1 and Q4. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
So for the rest of the people that have jobs that are in a corporate scheduling, when you're finishing your schedule, you trying to have that done by Q4ish and as your goalpost, and then Q1 is kind of with the release date. Is that kind of how that works?
No, I mean, typically it's even earlier than that, but we want to be wrapping up our schedule and having everything done by, usually it's mid-June by the time we're getting things finalized. And then we're going to be announcing within the next 30 to 90 days, I would imagine, the schedules for every single circuit we run. And we do that so our anglers can plan their year out. If we were to wait until the end of the year to release, guys aren't going to have time to take off work or PTO time or go to these events that they have to travel to for multiple days. So we like to get the schedules out as early as possible. Also, that helps in working with other organizations and kind of, I don't want to say claiming it first, but there's always kind of a race. If we're not out early, somebody else is going to. And by that point, now we're lagging behind. So, we always like to have it out by, July, August. I've seen it as late as early September, but it's out by that point. Absolutely.
I had somebody here real quick. I dropped out my schedule one time, like late October, and someone was like, "Who puts out a schedule in October?" I said, "A guy who wants a ramp. That's who puts out a tournament in October. If I want a ramp, I have to do it."
Yeah, no doubt.
Go ahead, Thomas.
I was going to say, with the BFL divisions, it's evolved over the years. And I think it was 2018 through 19. I think there was the most divisions or different types. There was like a mid-Atlantic division. What is the process in if you actually create a division? Like, how does that work? Is that because of popular feedback? Is that a decision you guys make? Like, how does that whole process work?
Yeah, so in our office, we have all the directors. We have 6 BFL directors, Toyota Series director, Tackle House Invitationals, college, high school for myself, a director, and then also Daniel Fennell with the BPT. So everybody, has their part, but we all sit around this table and we talk about, hey, what are our needs? And, back in the day, honestly, the year that I come in, we actually added 4 divisions. It was 20 divisions of BFLs back in 2003. And when I got added on in 2004, 25, in 2005, we added 24 divisions. Until this day, we still have 24 divisions. So when I was added on as like the new director, BFL director. And in 25, I started running those new divisions. And so, back in the day, it was just where the needs were. I mean, whether it was, I remember when we used to have a Gator division and an Everglades division. And Joe, you remember that we used to have, kind of a north and south, or like, you have North Carolina, South Carolina, or Savannah River in Georgia, Music City,
and Shenandoah.
Yes, exactly. And so, Music City, Mountain. I mean, there's all kinds of, and a lot of them do intertwine. And so it's just need. And back then the numbers were such great numbers. We saw the need for another division, and certain lakes like Everglades were pretty much south, where, the Gator division was up north. And so With the Music City division, we're trying to stay within that Music City area where the mountain divisions is more of your mountain lakes. So again, it just wherever the need was. And we just continued to grow. And again, we've been at 24 for, 20 years now. So,
Now the rumor was, I think about a year or two ago, that the Piedmont and Shenandoah is going to combine, because I think it is the Piedmont's always been kind of low number wise. And, you kind of wonder about that. I know a lot of people that will fish all the events, period. I know, like my boy Chris Brummett, he'll fish them all. But then there's quite a few that will just fish the ones wherever the championship is that year.
correct.
Because, wherever they feel that they can, win that championship at the end of the year, when to qualify to win the championship.
That's right.
But have we looked, recently after COVID and after, some of the downturn that we've seen in tournament bass fishing, maybe kind of combining some of these organizations, or has that come across the table?
Well, we always have discussions. Right now, our main discussion seems like every single day is forward-facing sonar. But let's not even attempt to talk about that. But
No.
to answer your question is, yes, we have those discussions on every chance we talk about our numbers in general. What's the best thing? What can we do to draw better here? Is it better lakes, better regionals? You were talking about that a while ago. I mean, people literally would look at the regionals and say, okay, what regional do I want to go? Or what regional can I fish better? And they would fish that division based upon where they were going for that regional, so that they can make it to the All-American. Because, hey, we all know the All-American's one of the hardest ones to ever make. So yeah, it's just based upon numbers, and as things continue to get hard, no clue what's going to happen going forward.
What are your logistics like? I don't think people understand this, that what makes businesses and wins wars is logistics. And when you have all these BFL tournaments, you have the Toyota, all this, does each division, each group basically get its own amount of resources and trailers, or it's basically like 2 trailers and somebody's just driving all over God's earth to get it there? Like, how does that work?
Joe, jump in when you want. I mean, this is operation stuff. So we have 11 trailers.
Great. We got here.
Yeah. So we have 11 trailers for the BFLs that we have.
11.
We have one called a spare. But those 11 trailers are all throughout the country. I'm gonna look up here and just kind of figure out where one or two's in Arkansas. We have two in Alabama. We have one in North Carolina. We have one up in New York. So they're all over the place. We strategically put them in the that little circle of our bass fishing world, and we just use them as is. At the beginning of the year, we go through what we call our work schedule and say, okay, where do these trailers need to be? Trailer number 1 needs to come to, and the bad thing about that is you have 2 Alabama or 2 Bama events, or you have one in Tennessee, one in Alabama, one in Georgia, and you got to have a trailer within this, in this circle. I mean, it's got to travel. And so there's times we have literally pulled guys from Michigan. We have a trailer in Michigan as well. We've had to pull Michigan down to Kentucky and slide our Kentucky people down to Alabama. And so, yeah, I don't want to call it a nightmare, but it's a logistic plan that you have to steadily put your finger on and make sure it happens.
I know the Piedmont, Shenandoah, and Virginia have kind of been sharing a trailer the last year or so.
Yeah.
Because
I believe that's Macklow and Kyle. Can't even think of his last name, but yep, they kind of share those trailers. It's really wherever those 10 trailers are needed. It doesn't mean that Macklow's your trailer just for that North Carolina division.
Right.
It's all logistics, 100% of where is that trailer needed and what's the closest we can get it to, or needs over out west versus out east. And when I say west, like, your Arkansas and Oklahomas, we're really, honestly, guys, in the absolute best place we could be when it comes to tournaments. Right in the smack dab middle of Kentucky there, the bass universe, as we call it. We can go 300 miles left, right, or up and below, and it's really awesome. Really awesome. And then you got those 10 or 11 trailers for BFLs, and we have our own college high school trailer. We don't have a Toyota Series trailer. And then we have the Invitationals and BPT. We share the big stage trailer together.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's all a great puzzle, but it's a big puzzle.
People need to hear that more, because when you have people popping off on social media being like, well, why don't you just come here? Why don't you just come here? It's like, you saying that and the trickle down effect to make this whole machine move, to make that, no one appreciates the work on the back end to make an event happen. And yeah, just to say like, oh, let's just have it here. It's like, cool. Now let's just shift this whole iceberg to make somebody's wish come true. That's well,
crazy. And that's one thing Chris is working on too. You're talking about how long does it take? And one of the problems is, and I just like look here, if I just look, for example, on my schedule here, if you go back to like April or even May, there has got to be logistic problems there. You have to go from one event to the next. You have Red Crest, which was in Huntsville, Alabama, and it went straight from Red Crest to Decatur, Alabama for the college national championship. And then I went straight to Lewis Smith in Coleman, Alabama for the Tackle Warehouse Invitational. So you got 3 major events there back to back to back. And they're all, it's just piggybacking off one to the next. I mean, it keeps you from zigzagging. And that's one thing Chris Hoover does a great job on. So again, there you went from Red Crest in Alabama, college national championship in Alabama, and 30 minutes down the road to the next TWI event. So 3 weeks in a row there, back to back to back with the same trailer and equipment, and just trying to make sure everything, works out.
That is wild, man. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah,
let's kind of move in a little different direction. Talk about numbers this year. We kind of brought it up earlier on the show, and we were talking about the numbers kind of being down across the whole entire board. I don't want to bring up forward-facing sonar because everybody's the whole thing, and everybody wants to fuss about. But you kind of wonder, where we are going with that, and how we can maybe up the numbers in 2026 to get it back to that level we once had. Is there things that you guys are working on or looking at into the future? Just, or I mean, heck, just, the rumors floated doing away with the co-anglers and, just having the anglers and, then, I ain't gonna lie, I got a lot of guys around here said they wish they didn't have a co-angler. I mean, they for sure, because a lot of these guys will fish Smith Mountain Lake, the BFL, and they'll fish this one. They don't want to show them their spots because they'll fish these 3 tournaments. And, you hear all that, but they also want to qualify to go fish, like you were saying, the All-American. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's a great event. We just wrapped it up like a week ago. And that week, 2 weeks ago, we just wrapped up the All-American.
Yeah, we just wrapped up the All-American, the BPT, and the high school fishing camp. So we've had 3 big events here lately, and that's pretty awesome. I'm gonna let Joe kind of jump on that question there. Joe, they're wanting to talk to you about numbers and some of the rumors. And I go back to what we talked about a while ago. The number one thing we talk about at every single meeting, every single week is forward facing. But number 2 is definitely numbers, and why we have such low numbers. What are we trying to do about it? We're definitely talking a lot, and I'll let Joe kind of help us out there.
Absolutely. So sorry, guys. This dang internet connection. I don't know what's going on. But so, what was the question? I apologize.
The question is about how can we update the up the numbers, especially in the Phoenix Bass Fishing League. We've seen them down this year across the board, and we've seen it down across the board for all series. Doesn't matter what series it is. Are there things that you all are looking at for the future to kind of change that? And I know, like I was telling them earlier, everybody talking about forward-facing sonar and, removing the co-angler. I mean, it's just rumors. It's all it is. But, we even had here a lot of these solo series pop up where a lot of people were happy just fishing. I mean, if they were happy as hell to pay an extra $150 if they didn't have to have a co-angler.
So it's the $1 million question, Brian. I mean, how do we get guys back? Great job. And that's what we're working to figure out like every day, like Kevin mentioned. I know that our tournament directors have been meeting with our operation executive team, throwing out different ideas and past scenarios and what things could look like for next year. Nothing has been decided yet. So all of the rumors that you were talking about, co-anglers going away, which I can't see happening. That's not going to happen. We need co-anglers, the lifeblood of the sport. That being said, you saw a lot of switches this year with, not necessarily on the BFL, but the co-anglers did switch to a 3-fish limit on the BFL. And we increased the number of regionals to try to generate more participation in some of the divisions. So, I mean, we're always looking at our different scenarios and options. Nothing has been finalized yet. Usually that stuff is kind of decided towards the end of the season, August, September, October, when we're rolling out those details. But that being said, I definitely think we could see some changes, to ultimately increase participation in the BFLs. Now, what those look like, I don't know. I would love to raise payouts to $1 million and we take entry fees down to nothing, but we're also a business organization that has to make money and pay for guys like Kevin and myself, so I think there could be some adjustments coming there, but I don't know what they look like, and I don't think it's been decided yet. So if you guys have any ideas, send them our way.
Talk about this. I believe you guys signed a deal this year with Berkeley. Is it Berkeley? I want to say was they give away the prize pack if you fish so many the BFL events. How did that end up coming about?
Yeah, it's the Abu Garcia actually.
The Abu Garcia.
Yeah, it's fish 4 for 3. So it's basically if you fish that 4th BFL event in a division, you're going to get an Abu Garcia bait pack and gear pack that's worth more than the entry fee costs. You're going to get, there's a really nice reel in there, a bunch of nice baits, and it's a really cool package that exceeds the value of the entry. So it's was an idea that Abu Garcia brought to us this year, and we loved it. I mean, you kind of see, the divisions always start out really strong, and then guys they kind of struggle and realize they may not make a regional. It kind of falls off a little bit. So this is one way to combat that. Guys are still showing up, getting their free bait packs, and it's win-win for Abu Garcia, for the anglers, and for Major League Fishing.
So guys, there's just another way, like we were talking about, just to keep you guys in the game and to fish all the events throughout the season. So let's move on. Tackle Warehouse, James River. We're a week away. You guys all know the podcast drop on Monday. TheBassCast.com be at this event. How are we feeling going into this event? Moving into the river system here in Virginia, and what's some of the strong points? And you guys know the anglers a lot better than I do, Kevin, that fish some of these events. Who are you guys kind of feeling you think is going to take the win up there?
Well, we have top 10 angler from the Kentucky event just a couple of days ago. Justin Cooper will be there fishing that event. Excited about that. Guys like Brian Latimer, Nick LeBrun, Bank Shaw, obviously, is our right now, he's our, leader in the standings right now. We'll have, I'm not sure if you've heard of this guy named Boyd Duckett to be fishing that event as well. We'll have, let's see here. I'm just looking through my list. Paul Elias is one of our big guys as well. Kelly Jordan. Let's see here. Andrew Nordby, Kyle Cortiana, who just won that Angler of the Year there. So lots of big names here that that we have. It's just it's been a struggle with numbers, but it's been a great year, really, Brian. We can't complain. Up until the Pickwick event, it has been kind of a lake/river, Tennessee River style events. And I'm excited about coming to James River. I personally have never been there. I've run college, high schools, BFLs across the entire nation, West Coast included. I've never been to Richmond, Virginia, to that lake or river. And so I'm excited myself. I know a lot of these guys jumped in it just because they knew about it. We got a couple of locals as well, and maybe even some sticks that you guys may know. I'm not sure a whole lot of them, but there should be some good guys that make the cut. And the top cut's going to be top 30, so it'll be a little bit different on Sunday. But man, it should be a really good event. I'm looking forward. Have you noticed the weather is going to be warm too? It's going to be a beautiful week, maybe a little hot. Honestly, it's supposed to be in the 90s.
Yeah, it's been pretty warm around here this week, and I think we have storms and all that great stuff here in Central, like we always
leading up to. It should be some storms. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to help the conditions. I don't know if it helps the conditions or not, because I don't know a lot about the fishery. But again, we got some big names, and we should have a great event. It's going to be all a live feed. So make sure you tune in. Go to MajorLeagueFishing.com. It will be all 3 days live stream on the water coverage. And then our weigh-in will be live as well. And then we'll produce a great TV show out of it. So I'm looking forward to it.
If you could pick one or two anglers who you think gonna win it.
Ugh.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Gosh, you can't put the tournament director on the spot. He's got to be impartial here.
Yeah, there you go. That shows favorites, right?
Yeah. So,
Joe, who do you think might win it? Media Man?
There you go. Joe,
Brian
who's
Carter.
your pick?
Brian Carter is the best angler up in Virginia, right?
No, he is not.
You know, Kevin went through some of the names. There's some big sticks in here, and there's some great local guys too. You know, I talked to Jason Tibbetts of Centerville. You know, he's jumping in this one, and he's had a lot of success up on the James. Nick LeBrun has won on the James in the past, and he's up there. So, I mean, it's tough to pick a winner, especially when the James is fishing as well as it is. You know, for years it was everybody went to the Chickahominy, but now we're kind of seeing, you know, and it's still, you know, a very popular area, but we're seeing guys spread out a little more, and it's really kind of changed the fishery almost, where, you know, it isn't necessarily going to be won there. You know, the Chick's always strong, but it can be won in the, you know, Skeet, the final day of the Bass Pro Tour, he was in the Appomattox and had a great day. You know, I mean, guys can really spread out now, and it kind of changes the strategy. So to pick a winner is really tough. You know, I'll give you a weight prediction. I think, you know, last time we were there, Nick LeBrun won over 3 days. He had 47.11. I think we go way over that. I think we see more than 50 pounds over 3 days is my prediction. Can I pick a guy? No, but somebody's going to catch him. That's for sure.
Well, hey, here's a question for you guys. You think it'd be one shallow or deep?
It's going to be one shallow. I mean, the time of year that we're hitting it right now, we just came after the May that had the most rain since probably Noah was on an ark. And what's nice is having this delay like it is, the river is starting to clean out a little bit. There was a couple of tournaments on the Potomac, and there was enough wood to build a battleship on it. Yeah. That's gone, which is awesome. It's starting to stabilize. The fish are off the beds. We are in post spawn right now. And I think with this heat, what I'm really hoping, and based on all the people that I talked to on my show, they're starting to stabilize into those summer patterns. And so where some tournaments have been won in some key sneaky places that are usually more of a springtime deal, I think this field's going to be spread out. Usually in tidal bodies of water, when you get those spawn type of tournaments or those early years, it really condenses anglers into places. But this time of year, it could be one from the Chick all the way up to Richmond, which is going to be fun to see.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be a different style of fishing, but I think it's going to be a great event. You know, when you mentioned shallow, I think of Keith Poche. I mean, he's in this event as well. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting race to see. And then the chase for the Angler of the Year to the Rookie of the Year is just really, really becoming very, very enticing.
What?
Go ahead.
How did this whole invitational tour get started? Just like, what was the brainchild of it?
So it's essentially the OFLW Tour, and then they changed it to the Pro Circuit, and then Tackle Rush Invitational. It's the same thing. It's just that you have Bass Pro Tour at the top now, and then, you know, this old FLW Tour, Pro Circuit / Invitationals. It's still the same. You still, you know, it's still fishing by yourself as a pro, except we just don't have the co-anglers. It's still the high entry fee. It's still the major payback. It's still all that level. I mean, it's as high as levels you can, you know, stream it on the water all 3 days, live weigh-ins, TV show. I mean, it's as big as it gets, except you just have the Bass Pro Tour now that kind of everybody looks at as the premier. So it still is high, and especially when it comes to the best 5 fish, it's as big as it gets.
And I mean, and like you said, the payouts are just so fantastic. And again, anyone can join this. If you can cut the check, this is something that anyone can obtain to.
Yes, sir.
It's something that's been missing. I was really hoping this would stay around, and I'm so glad to see, because it's been missing for a long time, having this kind of tour just slot right in there between the BBT and the Toyota.
Yeah. No, it's been a great program. I've run it for 3 years now, and this is my third year, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed it. And lots of great guys too. I mean, you got guys that are just trying to cut their teeth and trying to figure it out. Then you got guys like your Keith Boucher's, Keith Carson's is fishing this as well. To Kelly Jordan's, who just fishes the invitationals now, and he's as good as they get. So yeah, it's just a great group of guys that I've thoroughly enjoyed over the past couple of years.
If fans show up to watch, will there be trucks there, merchandise, things to buy, anything of that nature? I know a lot of people kind of, it was set up a different format for the last event on Smith Mountain Lake, and there a lot of guys were hoping there would be trucks, and there was nothing. But will there be?
Yeah, same here. So we bring our big trailer, and we also bring our Toyota Series trailer. Put those two, side by side. But we just we don't have merchandise at this event. We have the live weigh-ins, bringing the fish in and stuff, but we don't have merchandise, and we won't have the the trucks set up, the Toyota trucks and stuff set up there. That was our activation at the Bass Pro Tour just this past week at Kentucky. We had a great crowd here on Saturday and Sunday on Kentucky, and but hey, we'd love to have a great crowd at Osborne Landing. Come out and see us. Weigh-in will be at 2:30 every day. Each day we'll take off at 6:30 a.m. and come join us. Come shake some of the hands of the pros, get some autographs, and we'll show you a good time, hopefully.
Heck yeah. All right, you guys heard it right here. Joe had to bounce technical issues. I think he said some storms in his area, so really appreciate Joe coming on and talking with us tonight. Kevin, the future, man. We'll wrap it up with this. I mean, the sport, we've seen it. It's going through some ups. It's going through some downs.
Sure.
The tackle, we had someone on from the tackle industry a few weeks ago. That's starting to make a boom again.
Yeah, finally
is coming back around.
And hey, if you notice that Kentucky Lake event, they caught them on jigs and crankbaits, man. Can you believe it? They didn't catch them on the minnow.
The minnow.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
And yes, we talked about that very much so in our tackle show that we talked 2 weeks ago. We had that. Yeah. So I mean, things are starting to come back around because Thomas will tell you, bass get used to the minnow. I mean, you're eventually going to have to start throwing. They're going to be immune to it.
Everything goes in cycles. The business of fishing is never different than any other business segment out there. And so we're just going to go into these cycles, and the minnow is starting to fade. I mean, it is what it is.
Already.
Already. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are so reactionary because, again, we are in the depths of social media. This is like, when you started your career in 2008, there's this thing called Facebook, and now everything. And with this 24-hour news cycle, I feel like we get so indoctrinated to like everything's ending. Oh, the minnow killed everything. No, deep breath. Let's everyone touch some grass. It'll be okay. Everything will settle down.
We've seen it in other series, Kevin. We've talked about it on our show a lot, how the feeder system, and you guys got the great feeder system as well, the high school, the college. But we've also talked about this being, you hear it on social media all the time, a rich man's sport now. We're kind of going, me and Thomas are big baseball fans, but I'm a big NASCAR fan, and NASCAR had this little issue back in the day. And my dad was in NASCAR before I was born, guys. He changed tires and built motors and all that good stuff. And it went from where you could take $1,000 in a car to the track and, come home with a check. Might not be huge, but a check. And we're kind of going through that right now with bass fishing. And with these young kids that are coming up through the rankings with all the technology, with everything we got now, we're seeing some of the anglers kind of fall away. And because they said we can't compete, or this, the young anglers now treat it as a business. And if you go back and watch some shows from the past, where they owned a business and then fished on the weekends or fished professionally on the weekends.
Yeah.
And now it's professionally, period. Or I just wonder how we're going to kind of get over this bubble, and you being in the hunt and, watching this whole thing through the high school, through the college. How are we going to get over this bubble? Or is it just going to take a whole entire generation to flush it out? And this is what we end up with is major league fish. I mean, is professional sports, a real professional sport, what they always call it, or, a college pro football team or something like that, where that's your team. I mean, we're kind of going through a lot of changes, and what you kind of seeing coming down the pipe, and what's going to really happen in the end? I mean, as you're seeing that the kids move through and move up and move through the different rankings.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you.
I know it's a lot to take in. Sorry.
Well, it's funny because you've hit on all three of our problems that we talk about every single week: the forward-facing sonar, the numbers, and this is our third one that we struggle with and try to talk about, and just trying to make a business model. How do we get these younger anglers, and how are we going to transition from old to new or young to old? It's a struggle. I'm looking here at Bank Shaw, who is our leader right now. Mitchell Robinson is in second place right now. And then you have, not really old, but we call him the old timer, Joseph Webster. And then you have Kobe Miller, who is another young gun. And all these young guys that are not reinventing the sport, but they're just anglers that are young and anglers that basically skipped the BFL. Let's just be honest. They didn't even fish them. And that's something we're noticing too, Brian and Thomas, that one of the things we're noticing with the BFL numbers when we're talking about this is they're going straight from college straight to the either Toyota Series or the Tackle Warehouse Invitational. And that's kind of where we're missing the boat there, trying to figure out how do we continue to stair step these guys. And so that's something we talk about all the time. And I'm with Joe. I'm going to go back to what he mentioned a while ago. We don't have the answers. We continue to pound our heads on the tables every single week of what can we do? What's going to be the norm? Do you leave the old guy in the past and say, hey, this is the way we're going? Or do you try to integrate it somehow? Like, how do you mesh this all together? It's just because it really is the old versus the new, the young guy versus the old guy. And we don't want it to be like that. But unfortunately, right now it's becoming that. And we're continuing to try to figure out how to make it all work out. And we don't have answers. We still don't. We have every director in this office every single Monday from about 9 to 11 battling these things, these three things we just talked about every single Monday. Those three topics are something we talk about every single Monday. So to the angler, I can tell you, if you're listening now, we're trying and we're listening to you and we hear you. And we're trying to do our best to make this the best program, the best, company, because we're all in it for the anglers, and we're going to be the last one standing, as we always say. But we understand there's change, and we're trying to figure that perfect change. I'll give you an example. The Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. I mean, I went head to head with Boyd Duckett on trying to, what I wanted to do with the invitations, what I thought was best, and what we ended up doing was the 1 day on and 1 day off, and the final day you can do what you want. I think that's been awesome. I don't know what you guys have thought about that program or how it works, and you'll get to see definitely firsthand with it at James. But it's been awesome. It really has. The anglers have really received it well. The public loves it. They love the fact that you can watch it one day and not, kind of see the changes they make. And honestly, the numbers have kind of proved a few things to us, and so we just kind of have to see how it all plans out. But we feel like we've made a great move in the invitationals of doing that 1 day off. Now, do we implement that in Toyota or BFLs? And, how do you do that? That's the number 4 thing we talk about. How do you implement those if we want to do something like that with the BFLs and Toyota series? And I'm very fortunate. I run the high school and college besides the invitational, so I don't have to worry about that. We will keep forward-facing sonar for the college, but when it gets to the BFLs and Toyotas, it's definitely something we're trying to figure out. I heard a guy tell me the other day at the invitational, said, "Man, I don't know if I'll be at the next or not. I'm tired of these young guys beating my tail." He said, "Because every one of these young guys here are all headed straight to Gunnersville," and he was talking about the Toyota series. Yep. All these guys are headed straight to Gunnersville to pre-fish the rest of the week. And he said, "I'm going my tail back to the office tomorrow and working." He said, "I'll be there at 7:30 in the morning and working." And these guys are all headed straight down, and they'll be pre-fishing for 4 days in a row. And so, we hate to hear stuff like that. And that's a real struggle, real problem that we're aware of.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Oh Lord, there's so many things. I mean, the first one would be when you said they're jumping from college to like the Toyota series. Partially, it's a testament to what you built. I just want to make sure that's not glossed over, because you were on ground zero for building a farm system that was really good. And I don't know day one that you thought it would become what it is now, because it's, trust me, like when I fished it, it is not the same. Like they're that much better. Everything, it's insane how good they've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is. It's just the evolution of business, and I appreciate what your group has done with experimentation, because it gets so lackluster when you see people that are just too afraid to make adjustments. They're like, hey, let's experiment with forward facing sonar one day off, because eventually you crack the code. And any competitors have to be terrified of that, because if you're willing to experiment and fail, you will succeed. And when you hit that perfect formula, it's just going to go to the moon. And so it's not if, it's when. And I think people that are listening to that need to understand that, because that's business 101.
I mean, the Bass Pro Series now, if you ask me, I'm sorry, it's the best ever this year. I mean, I'm excited to watch. I love it. I mean, you get one period, you get to try, you get to play your little game for one period. And then after that, you got to go back to old school fishing, and you got to figure it out yourself. And
and even for us anglers, we love the fact of trying to figure out why they do it and how they do it, and just the mind game of itself. I'm trying to figure out why they do those things.
So this year, I mean, that's the best thing that they've done. You know, the Bass Pro Series done, and I love it myself. I really, really do, and it's really is a cool game. And you know, I bring this up a lot on the show. We talk about the Big Bass Tour. You know, that's just another whole event by itself, but it's a really cool game as well, because you're only allowed 3 fish in your live well, and you can only bring in one a period, and you got to determine which one you're gonna bring in for that period. I like the mindset of the whole entire game itself on that, because you could travel for 30 minutes across the lake and not make any money, and it's really cool with this right here. Like you said, the forward-facing sonar, you pick the period you want, and then, then from there, you just got to figure it out. And, we do know that they're going to catch more fish during the, when they have the forward-facing sonar. And we've seen that throughout the year, and we automatically know that. But on top of that, it does make it a little bit more of a game, and you really got to be a well-rounded angler. And that's what you really need to be a professional. And we've heard that so many times. Oh, there's video screen watchers, players, et cetera, et cetera. They're not professionals. But this right here now, with what Bass Pro Series Tour is doing, it shows that there really are professionals, and they really can break down bodies of water. And it's going to show who's going to be the bottom and who's going to be cut at the end of the year. And they're going to have to go back or go somewhere else.
That's right.
So,
my last question. You mentioned the multiple things that you guys are mulling over in private meetings. The rise in kayaking. You're seeing that that's now in a college situation. Is this something that's here to stay? And do you think that segment is going to continue to grow and have to eventually be factored in at some point?
We've talked about that several times. We're in, and we love the idea, and we know that everybody can't afford an $80,000 bass boat, and that may be on the low end. But we do understand that it's a need. Right now our focus is on what we're doing now with the from BPT all the way down to high school. But we are big supporters of it. And we've talked about certain programs over the years, or circuits over the years, and we've talked about teaming up with certain people or certain companies. But so far we're just trying to focus on what we have at task right now, or what we have at hand. That's our task right now.
All right, guys. So, like you said, Tackle Warehouse, James River, weigh-ins are at 2:30.
2:30,
The basscast.com will be there. I'm going to try to do my best I'm going to try to get off on that Friday, to be honest. I'm kind of in the middle of a transition. I got a bunch of people retired on my end as well. So I'm getting the hammer time right now. Let's just say that much.
Sure.
But we will be there. We'll be covering the event. So make sure you guys tune in to basscast.com for interviews. Also, like I said, you can watch all day long on Major League Fishing. And the weather's supposed to be beautiful. Let's hope it holds out to be that. You guys all know, right here in Central Virginia, we're in this bowl here in the mountains of Virginia, and it protects us from a lot. But when we get it, we get it. So hopefully the weather will play nice for us this coming weekend. So, guys, Thomas, before we go, anything else you'd like to say, or anything you got coming up you want to tell anyone about that they need to tune in?
Yeah, midnight this Father's Day, the Spring Bash presented by Brian Carter and the Basscast will end. Some absolutely beautiful fish have been caught. Again, I'm doing multiple divisions. Biggest smallmouth caught in Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia. There's a greenfish division as well. There'll be a big announcement. I think next week on the show, we'll announce the winner and all that stuff. So get into there. And then, of course, biology reports. I'm doing the Virginia State biology reports for every river and lake. On Monday, the James River and the Chickahominy biology report will drop, which is all their fish sampling, which is always some good fun. Besides that, yeah, just doing my best.
Kevin, man, we really appreciate you coming on tonight's show and talking with us. Thank you so much. And it's our first time really getting to meet you. And that's pretty cool as a whole because, most of the time you guys are extremely busy.
Yeah.
So to have you on is a blessing. Thomas, Joe had to run. So as I said earlier, Joe's been having some storms and some weather in his area. So we appreciate him coming on for a few minutes and talking with us again tonight. Guys, have a great weekend, everyone. And like Thomas said, we'll be back on here next week, and we'll be talking about the winners and breaking it all down. And I got to get Thomas some money so you guys can have some plaques. So appreciate you guys all listening and watching. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. And have a great night, everybody.